I am hate. When you look at me, you look at hate.
When I look at you, I look at hate.
When you look at me, you know what hate is.
This video is sponsored by Einstock, Iceland's finest export, along with strongmen. Hey everybody, this is Atticus the TheDeathMetaller, and welcome to a longly awaited episode, and the first episode of 2019 of the TheDeathMetaller Reviews. Here on this episode, we're going to be reviewing the band Wolfheart, and their latest release, the Constellation of the Black Light. And with that said, as with every other TheDeathMetaller Reviews episode, let's do a little backstory and history of the band. Now shall we? Finland! A wonderful country off of the Scandinavian region of Europe. A land of mystical wonders, magical winters, the ancestral land of my good friend Sarah Virtanen. Please subscribe to her, by the way. She makes really good content. A country which has a healthcare and an educational system that makes Michael Moore's socialist dick rock fucking hard. The land of the world's deadliest sniper, Simo Häyhä. But most importantly, a country well known for its love and passion for metal in all of the European continent. Geography now perfectly explains it more than my dumb ass.
Finland is huge on the boisterous, loud, and flashy heavy metal culture, having the highest concentration of heavy metal bands out of any other country in the world, with nearly 650 per 1 million residents.
Finland indeed has brought out great metal bands that shared their music from around the world, with such household names like Children of Bodom, Nightwish, Korpiklani, Amorphis, Insomnium, Moon Sorrow, Kalma, Encepharum, and the band that we are going to be talking about today, Wolfheart. Wolfheart started out in the town of Lahti, Finland, founded by Tuomas Sakunin. Tuomas was known to be in such bands like Before the Dawn, Black Sun Aeon, Dawn of Solace, and Rotasiau. He decided to stop all those acts and focus on all of his time and energy on Wolfheart. Wolfheart was first a solo project, but then progressed in becoming a full-fledged active melodic death metal band. Wolfheart, with such a short span, has already garnered a huge following, as well as rightfully earned their rightful spots in a country that already has an endearing, loving passion for metal, and will continue hopefully for many years and generations to come. And with that said, let's begin our review for Constellation of the Black Light. Constellation of the Black Light was produced by none other than the founder of Wolfheart himself, Tuomas himself. Now, I will indeed say this throughout this entire show. I have nothing but the utmost respect for metal musicians who produce their own craft off of their own band's albums. That is something that I absolutely deeply respect onto metal musicians that produce their own band's crafts. Now I have nothing against metal bands that want to hire a producer that knows their stuff and know their craft for, bringing out an album for them. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine, but I have the utmost respect for metal bands, metal musicians that produce their own albums. That is just like a feat on its own. I've said it onto my review on Marduk, and I will continue saying that when it comes to future Death Metal Reviews episodes where it involves a band that produces their own shit. Like, I will indeed stand by this. I have the utmost respect for those that produce their own craft. If I were to describe the sound of Constellation of the Black Light here, it would be like the best elements off of bands like Amon Amarth, Unleashed, Insomnium, and At the Gates, all wrapped up into one absolutely epic kick-ass album off of this album, and you know, it really shows. It really fucking shows. And as I said earlier, Tuomas is a guy who knows his stuff due to his past experience with his previous bands, and seeing it all match up together along with the other releases he brought out with Wolfheart, it really shows on how much of a really dedicated and passionate musician that he is. He's kind of like Eric Rutan, and by the way, I mean, I met Eric Rutan on the 6th time I saw Cannibal Corpse last year before Pat O'Brien went. That's another story for another time, but I will indeed say that, you know, Eric was an absolute amazing and down-to-earth individual. But enough of all that. You guys are here for my favorite tracks off of this album. So with that, let us begin. The first track on this list is Everlasting Fall. Now, the first track is pretty much, the time span of this track is over 10 minutes and 24 seconds. The first fucking track off of this album. Now, I will say this song starts off very slow, but goes on a very good and very great and kick-ass pace. The way I see it is that this song is basically the start of an epic and perilous and difficult journey. That's what I think about what this song is. It's kind of like, you know, the very start of the Fellowship of the Ring in Lord of the Rings. It's, you know, it's just, you know, the start of where the Fellowship is formed and where they begin to set off on their difficult and perilous journey before they're all separated from, you know, when they lose Gandalf in Mordia, and then, you know, all of the Fellowship is separated in Amon-Hen. So that's how I feel about this track, and it's just, it is so paced so well off of this very first track, and you know, even though it's, you know, the longest song off of this track, it is a very, very intense and great start off of this album. The second track off of this list is one of my favorite songs off of this album, Blackwater. Now, how I would describe this song, I would say that this song is somewhat the mid to end portion of the perilous journey, but in my honest opinion, I believe that this is just pure, epic, Melodeath epicness right there. It is just pure, unadulterated aggression right there. It sounds like a bit of a, you know, the mid to end part of a perilous journey, but to me it's just a very intense song that you would just get down and dirty right into the mosh pit. I love on how the drums are performed. I love the solos and the riffs off of this song, and it's just a very downright aggressive song along with the growls and the clean singing, and they just connect so perfect with this song. Have a listen. The next track off of this list is The Saw. Now, when I first heard this third single that would be coming out soon when, you know, the album was about to be released in October of last year, I'm like, wow, there's some like Saw references right here and there and all this shit. But when I first heard the track, I honestly thought that this was like, you know, it's basically, when I first heard the entire song, it's like almost like that of an Insomnium song. Granted, it's, you know, one of their very slow-paced songs, but I really do love the pacing and just the feel and the mood off of this track. And it sounds something like Insomnium would definitely write. And, you know, it really does trace back to Tuomas's days when he was with Before the Dawn. And it really does show his elements of his previous bands that he mixes with his current band right now with Wolfheart. So I think it's a really good, slow pace, but a very epic, just really great song, to say the least. So have a listen. And now we get to our final track off of this review, Warfare. Now, this song is pretty self-explanatory on how I feel about the song. It is very fast-paced and very aggressive, and I will indeed say that this song basically sounds like At the Gates at their absolute zenith right here. At the Gates on fucking steroids. You could fucking tell at the very first portion of this song, it sounds almost like that you would hear off of At the Gates. Just traditional Melodeath right there, but times 9,000. And of course, I mean, you know, the song Warfare, it's pretty much about warfare. War is hell. War is fucking ugly. And it, you know, it really does really bring out on the grittiness and the aggression off of this track. And it just shows, you know, how brutal warfare can be. Like, you know, that of the Viking days with the American Civil War, with World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and fucking beyond right here. Warfare is nasty, it's gritty, and it's ugly. And it does show with just the feel of this track right here. Now, I know that this review was pretty short given the fact that this album has over 7 songs, but I had to condense it onto the songs that I really like off of this album. Granted, I mean, Everlasting Fall was the longest song off of this album, and I will indeed say that this is an album that is worth checking out if you haven't checked it out yet, and it is just an absolute goddamn powerhouse off of this shit. Tuomas knows his shit due to his past experiences with his other bands, and he has really incorporated it so well with the past releases of Wolfheart and this recent release off of Wolfheart. They really do bring it out onto their A game. And as I have said earlier onto this review, I have absolute, you know, mad props and mad respect to Tuomas, who has produced this album himself with a little bit of help from other people that were part of the production of this album. But I will indeed say that I absolutely respect, you know, Tuomas's hard work and dedication off of this album, and it really shows on how passionate that he is with this work right here. Constellation of the Black Light receives a 10 out of 10 for this review. What do you guys think about Constellation of the Black Light? Do you like it or you dislike it? If you haven't checked it out, I highly encourage you to check out that album. Stay tuned for the next Death Metal Reviews episode, which will be coming out very soon. Without further ado, ladies and gents, I am Atticus, the Death Metaller. Hope you liked this video, subscribe to my channel. Links are down in the description below. Keep it metal and have an excellent and blessed day, y'all.